think tonight I'm going to push on. It's only 2 o'clock. I'm going to push on down to the Barham township, and they tell me that there's a pretty good Barham palmer. Shut your back. Bloody wild weather. Oh, there you go. This was day one. I would have packed up and home, I think. And I'm shagged. Back on pack. was evident I was getting close to the community now. In this instance, Echuca. It was the ever increasing jet skis, water skiers, paddle steamers, fishermen, just recreational traffic in general on the river. So with town only a few kilometres away, I'm starting to get a bit excited, because in this instance town meant a rest day, and if all went to plan, I was going to catch up with a few mates, catch up with some family, possibly have a good feed in town, restock, and just in general reset. But before I got there, I had to negotiate all this increased river traffic, and I was about to find out that some of these paddle steamers put up a fair wave. This was my rude awakening to it. Just upstream from Echuca is the confluence of the Goulburn River and the Murray River. The Goulburn being quite a substantial inflow. And it wasn't until I went past this point that I realised that I hadn't actually seen too many tributaries of the Murray. There wasn't too many spots where there's water actually coming into the system. But what would be evident further downstream in particular was the amount of outflows, or the amount of points that water was taken out of the river. So it was back on the river. I had a great day off, caught up with some family and some mates. As predicted, I'd had an awesome meal, or two, maybe even three. So as I was cast adrift from the caravan park boat ramp, big hug from the family, mates. It was a bit emotional really. I'd had a great couple of days, and once again I'll be on my own. Bon voyage! Thanks guys! See you around! Take care! See ya! So to James and Langers, thanks fellas, really enjoyed your company. And to Little Bro and Co, thanks for swinging by, appreciate your help. We're just travelling through the port of Echuca, first thing in the morning, not quite 8 o'clock yet. Right, past the Echuca wharf, legendary, once the largest inland port in Australia. This is also the closest point that the Murray River comes to Melbourne, still a fair hike. 1712 kilometres from the ocean, following the river. It's a great spot here. A lot of people are living the river life. Huge flotilla of houseboats moored and called this place home. If I'm not careful, I'll get run over by one just here. Like tourists, so I'll keep it well clear. Reversing out, probably haven't seen me. Major construction works going on here, west side of Echuca, with the construction of a second bridge crossing. It's been a few years in the making, and looks like there's probably a few more to go. Major project, evidently it'll reduce the bottleneck through traffic, no doubt. Bucks being spent. So the plan is today I've got from here to Rumbury, I think that's how you say it, here is about 70 kilometres, too much for today. I'm not going to even try because I've got to get there at the right time anyway to get through the lock system. So I'm not going to try and get there, it's just too big anyway. But I'm going to push on, try and do about 55, 56 k's today. Pull up to shy, 20 k's, 15, 20 k's shy over the wheel to position yourself to be able to get through it tomorrow. Thunderstorm overnight, middle or two of rain, light show. Another clear day. Oh dear. $56k. Not the easiest spot to get out of the water. That's all I can find. Unfortunately, this is the spot I was aiming for, but it's not quite as good as I thought it might have been. It's shallow enough, I can just stand in the water. Getting the boat out will be a challenge. 56k for the day. It was a tough day, real tough day. Had a rest day yesterday in Echuca, and day one today. It's 4:15. It's been really overcast all day, northwesterly wind, so any stretches of river that were facing northwest were a bit challenging. Anyway, I'll hop out and see if I can find how all this works. Oh, 5:30. I've been in camp for an hour, setting the tent up. Had to drag the boat bloody way up the bank, steep bank. It's pretty tough actually doing that. We emptied the front half out and then dragged the boat up. Sun's going down over there behind the trees. Not a bad little campsite, but there's something dead around. Looks like it's had a flogging, that's for sure, which most of these campsites feel that way. So 59 k's from Echuca. from Moama actually, where I camped last 2 nights. 59 k's today. And I don't know, I've got to look in the book, but it's probably 25 or something, 59, maybe even less than that, to the next lock, or the first lock for me. What's that called? Tourumbury or something like that. And it was a tough day, real tough. It was a northwesterly blowing. It was overcast all day, threatening to rain. Oh, we had a couple of little drops. It wasn't cold, but every time you come around into those northwesterly sections of the river, bang, slows you right down. I think the average today was just on 7 kilometres an hour. So yeah, bit of apathy, bit of lethargy, all of that sort of stuff probably contributed. So I find it tough, not that I've had a lot of rest days, but the first day after a rest day seems to be tough. Just getting going, getting back into the rhythm or something. So there's mozzies around. Better cover up in a minute actually. Vehicles wandering around in the bush somewhere. Stinks. Anyway, I'm here. I have a nice feed. Good sleep. We'll do it all again tomorrow. That's what we're here to do. Tough one. A cup of tea makes it feel a little bit better though. It took me an hour. When I pulled up at the bank, I thought, just have a cup of tea, Paul, just have a cup of tea. Time I unpacked my stuff, set the tent up, got everything sorted out. It's taken me an hour to get me cup of tea. Worth the wait though. I think this is about the earliest start I've had for the trip. 7:15 on the water. I think I'd learned by now that it's the 3rd day that I've had my battery go flat the minute I start turning the camera on. Cold mornings, I think. So today I want to push out about 56k. I'm not sure if I'm going to get much flow as a result of the release below the Tourumbury weir, which is what I went through at the end of the day yesterday. G'day, mate. And pulled up stumps after that at the Tourumbury caravan park of all things. And as luck would have it, I actually got a cabin last night, quite deliberate, and it actually had nothing to do with the weather, but as it turns out, it was a blessing in disguise. So, the night before, amid the chaos of a dance party or a rave or something going on the river across from me, the other side of the river from me, all night from 8 o'clock till 4 a.m, 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. Loud music. My self-inflating camp rest decided to develop a leak, and every hour I have to re-inflate it. So it was a bit of a restless night. So last night I'd already made the decision before I got here to get a cabin and try and determine what's going on with this bloody camp rest and see if I can fix it. So, as I said, as luck would have it, I'm in the cabin 5 minutes and it poured rain, cold, miserable wet. I had the heater going and found a couple of holes in the bloody mat. It's a bit suspicious. I'm not sure where they are. It's on the top of the mat, so it doesn't sort of make sense what's going on. I suspect I've got a little bit of a fabric failure going on. Don't know. Anyway, fixed it up. Well, patched it up where I could see it leaking. After a bit of a water test, so tonight will be the night. If that doesn't work, I'll have to swap it out somehow and get another one sent up. Plenty of them at home. It's just get them up here at the right place at the right time. So, today has dawned picture perfect. The sun's just come up over there behind the trees still. It's fresh, but it's clear, not a cloud in the sky. So, yesterday's weather appears to have cleared out. And if all goes okay, I should have a day or two, 3, 4, whatever, of good weather. So I've got just over 100 k's to the next town, Barham, not sure how you'd say that, Barham, on New South Wales side, Kundruk and Vic. And I plan to try and do a bit more than half of that today. Early start, so if I can do 55, 56 today, that means I'll get into a reasonable hour tomorrow. The reason I want to do that is because sometimes it's a bit of a slog getting into the campgrounds, into towns, and I'm happy to use them. They're there, gives them a few bucks, gives me a chance to charge up, clean up. I'm not trying to do this and be a feral, I'm trying to do this and maximise opportunities and enjoy these experiences. You know, there's plenty of camping on the riverbank, that's great, and where I can or where it suits, probably more of the point, I'll use the services and facilities available. I'm just flashing the camera there. So we'll wander through. I think we're in forested country for a while, and I should know what it's called. Gunbower State Forest. Pretty big bit of bush, evidently. So I think this sort of follows me all the way through, or I follow it all the way through to about Swan Hill, which in my calculations suggest that's about 220 k's from last night. Tarumbara Reservoir last night. Went through my first lock yesterday. It's actually called Lock 26. For a while, there's only 13 of them on this river. Anyway, Corumbury. Nice little caravan park there, pretty quiet. Anybody that's interested, logistically it would have been a lot easier for me to actually pull the canoe out, kayak out of the water upstream of the lock. There's a quick boat ramp there. And put it on the trolley and just walk across the caravan park entrance, which is only 100 metres away. As it was, I went through the lock and went to the boat ramp below the lock and had to put my boat on the trolley and carry it 400 metres back up the hill, almost back to where I just come from. And old mate at the lock, he was a very, very helpful fella. Bloody top bloke actually. Sent me a few photos of me going through the lock. But he said, oh, I could have put it on the trailer and just taken you to the accommodation, mate. So, anyway, I've gone through the lock. That was a great experience. Learned a bit about it. Bloody like going down bloody whirlpool, down the plug hole. So I would have had to put my boat on the trolley anyway this morning because I wanted an early start to get back down to the water's edge. So, you know, 6 to 1, half dozen the other. But depends on what you're looking for. If you want a bit of assistance, sounds like they're very helpful and very keen to help. Offered me some fresh drinking water and top fella. So 56k is the plan today, or thereabouts. There's no reason why that's the distance other than I suspect there might be some camping at that point. I've been finding this last section of river since Echuca. It's hard to get out of the river. I wasn't to realise at the time that the events that were about to unravel would ultimately have a profound effect on the rest of my journey down the river. Unfortunately, the campsite I was aiming for was already preoccupied, and in this instance by somebody that obviously had enough and was calling time. And while I'm not going to go into detail, it's fair to say that I'd spend quite a bit of time from here on questioning, wondering, contemplating, just trying to work out why, what we're all up to, where it's all leading. I knew that when I launched this journey, for the most part, I'd be on my own. Yes, I'd cross paths with people, I'd engage, I'd interact, but I didn't think for 1 minute that I'd be lonely. But tonight, when I sat around the camp on my own, I was lonely. It was almost like an epiphany though. After I'd rounded a couple more corners, sitting there on a log, as it turned out waiting for me, was a couple of angels from my past. A couple of wonderful folk that gave me a hand and got me out of the river and just were there when I needed them. Thanks Lee. Thanks Ailsa. After what felt like a very long night, it was time to get going. New day, a new dawn. But first, I just had to work out how to get my bloody boat back in the river. Fortunately, it was all downhill. I certainly wouldn't have been able to get up this bank on my own the day before. So after a little bit of trepidation, I finally managed to get me kayak back in the water. Managed to get myself back in the kayak without too much hassle. And then we're off. But it would be some days before my mind would clear enough to forget about the events of the last 24 hours. And to a certain extent, I don't think I ever will clear my mind completely. But what I'm determined is that I won't let these events define the trip. No, the trip's going to be remembered for all the good stuff, the adventure. Yeah, the hard work, the kilometres, but the reward. Now the river splits just here. Behind me there you've got the Little Murray River taken off to the north. It's only just a little bit smaller in terms of size. But I'm on the Murray proper. Evidently Little Murray joins back in further downstream at about another 27 k's I think. But we'll stick to the main river. That's what you do currently. I camped at Barham last night. No, Barham. Camped at Barham last night. Barham. And it was so far probably the best campsite in terms of ticking all the boxes. It was a paid site, caravan park, right on the water's edge. Little beach, so easy access, grass right down to the edge of the beach, which were the campsites. Didn't have to drag the boat far out of the water to keep it secure. Nice lush green lawns, all the amenities of course, good camp kitchen. And 2 pubs within eyesight of the caravan park effectively, and there's other places, but yeah, local knowledge said which pub to go to, so I did, and had a cracker. Nice big Scotch fillet, mushroom sauce, roast veggies. Oh, beautiful. Just what I needed. So I headed off this morning. I was a little bit slow off the mark this morning. It's closer to 8 o'clock. But, just making the most of it all. And also knowing that I've elected to break up this stage that I'm doing now. So from Barham to Swan Hills, about 120 k's. And to do it in 2 days is probably a bit big for me. 2 huge days. And I'm not real sure about the camping. So to have done a huge day and then be worried about trying to find somewhere to camp in fading light, I've opted not to do that, and broken it down into 3 days, 3 40k days. I might do, 2 reasonable sized days, but still knock off early enough to get a good campsite, and then a shorter day, day 3 into Swan Hill, where I've arranged a nice cabin on the river, and I'll probably have a rest day there and resupply. It's been a week since my last rest day, but few days ahead of me yet before all that happens, and it's a bit gloomy, overcast. Red sky this morning, so that's ominous. Apparently the forecast suggests that there might be a bit of rain the next day or two. Maybe not a lot, but some. Interestingly, back to our dewy mornings. So this morning the tent was covered in dew again. It wasn't as heavy as I've had higher up in the river, but it was back, so I've packed up a wet tent. Yeah, so once again the opportunities to get out of the river are limited. The banks are a little bit lower just now that we've gone past Little Murray, but still steep-sided, deep water at the base of those banks. So you really got to think ahead. When you get the slightest hint of needing a wee, start looking for outs. You don't want to be busting, having to try and find an out. Anyway, so we'll wander on. I'm not sure what the next place is. There's a town or a bridge further down, about 27 k's or thereabouts. Can't remember the name of it. Just a bridge. The town's set back apparently off the road. So yeah, today's plan is to do 40k-ish. I'll do less. 40, 45, similar tomorrow. And then yeah, we'll finish off the last bit, day 3. This is certainly not the norm for this trip. Having a fire is something that I haven't done too often. I think this is the 3rd fire I've had in 3 weeks. Today wraps up 21 days on the trail, on the river. I did a 55k day today. I was only going to do a small one and ended up pushing through because I couldn't find anywhere to camp. And I'm starting to feel a little bit desperate. Anyway, luck would have it, I've come across this spot that, well, it's being used but infrequently. Plenty of firewood, so I thought, well, I'll have a fire. Despite a 55k day, I still got here at a reasonable time, which was good. Not sure what's going on. There must be a fishing competition going on or something. There's boats, just fishing boats, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. So I'll have a cup of tea and cook something up. Simple, of course. A little fire, cup of tea after dinner. It'll be an early night though. From here I've got 65k, I think it is, to Swan Hill. But I think I'm going to do that over 2 days. It's too much for one day. I was actually going to have sort of 3 40-kilometre days, today, tomorrow and the next day, and I'll end up doing 55 today. So I'll have a look on the map and see if there's somewhere about halfway that I can pull up tomorrow and have an earlier day. And get to Swan Hill on Sunday. Yeah, it'll be good. Anyway, top little spot. It wasn't a steep bank, it was just a gentle bank. Wasn't too hard to get out of the water. A bit of grass, or a cow dung, do a bit of cleaning up. But all in all, top spot. I'm surrounded by farms and things, and sheep over the river here. see out the back as well. You can hear machinery, people. Anyway, a good little spot.